Hey everybody, Scott Brown here on day 56 of the 90-day Facebook Live Challenge. We're in the mid-50s already, folks. Just got back from watching the Fort Wayne Comets hockey team tonight. Now, I gotta say, living in a smaller city is interesting in a lot of ways, but one of the really cool things that Fort Wayne does is they have professional sports for all of the major sports. There's a professional football, a professional hockey team here. There is a professional basketball team here. There's a professional baseball team here. I've heard that they are getting a professional indoor league football team here as well. So there's a lot of really cool stuff to do, a lot of activities out there to be able to go and enjoy if you live in Fort Wayne. And it's one of the nice things about being in a small city that is small enough to be personal but yet large enough and affluent enough to be able to support sports teams. Very cool thing. Well, tonight at the Comets game, Kelly and I were sitting behind a guy, and I'm going to leave his company nameless, but sitting behind a young guy whose dad owns a rather popular business here in Fort Wayne. By rather popular, I mean they sponsor stuff. We know that now because he pointed that out to us while we were at the hockey game. And as we were talking tonight, something happened. I forget what it was, and asked him what he did or something along those lines. And he said, "I'm so-and-so." And I'm like, "Great, nice to meet you. I'm Scott." And he goes, "You don't know who I am?" I'm like, no, I don't. And he goes, "My family is so-and-so." I'm like, "Congratulations, I guess. Is that good?" And he goes, "You have no idea who I am." Like, we just moved here in December, man. We have no idea who you are. What's your family known for? What are you famous for in Fort Wayne? How are you Fort Wayne famous? And he pointed to his jacket and had the company logo on. He goes, "This is my dad's company. This is our family. We're one of the market leaders in our market here in Fort Wayne. That there's not a lot of competition." And sure enough, about 10 minutes later, a balloon comes floating out at the Comets game with their logo on it and his name on it. And sure enough, his family is Fort Wayne famous. But the look on his face when we're like, "We have no idea who you are." It had to have been one of the first times in this guy's life that he couldn't throw his name around and people be like, "Whoa, we're so happy to see you. You do such great things for the community. We're so lucky to be in your presence." We're like, "No idea who you are, dude." But the way that he presented himself all evening was, "I am the spoiled rich brat of people who are famous here in Fort Wayne. I'm the spoiled rich brat of a parent who has been very successful, and I've been raised with the trappings of a successful parent and parents. But I haven't done anything myself to really be famous myself yet." And it was sad because my first impression of this kid's family, of this kid's family's business, isn't super popular. It's not something that I would say, "Wow, I really want to go support them," because the way that he presented himself wasn't the type of place that I would want to shop. Which is sad. It's really sad because in a town like Fort Wayne, he's going to always be known by the majority of people here, and it's going to be rare that someone like us happens along that just has no idea who this kid is, no idea who his family is. He's always representing his brand because he's wearing the jacket, he's throwing his name around. He went and got beers after the puck drop for the third period and had to throw his name around and his family's weight around in order to get a beer after the puck drop because they stopped serving alcohol at the beginning of third period. He did not represent his family's brand in a positive way. Every time that we step out in public and we have our own brand, we are always on stage. We are always representing ourselves and representing our brand. And it's up to us to how we represent that brand, how we represent ourselves. Do you represent yourself in a way in social and informal situations the same way you would in a formal situation? Or are you letting your guard down so far that somebody's first impression of you is, I think I might want to check out your competition because I know who you are now? And if that's the way you're representing yourself, you're doing yourself and your business and your brand a disservice. You're doing your people a disservice because they rely on you to represent the brand in the most positive way possible. They're making their living from you. So remember that you are always on stage. Your brand is always omnipresent around you. And if you're representing yourself and your brand in a way that's not positive, that turns people off and their first impression is, not so much, dude, then you're doing yourself a disservice. You always have the opportunity to make a lasting impression, but you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So if you find that you have had opportunities that you've let people down with your first impression, go back, reintroduce yourself, and make a better impression, a lasting impression, because that's the impression people will choose, the one that they remember most. Hopefully, you're representing yourself in the best way possible. So it's fun to go out and see some of the stuff in Fort Wayne, and it's fun to experience some of the people in Fort Wayne that are Fort Wayne famous, but don't realize that Fort Wayne famous doesn't carry a lot of weight if you're not from Fort Wayne. First impressions count. Have a good night, folks, and we will see you tomorrow for day 57.